Welcome to Ensight Podcast.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. We live and in living color. It's me, Pastor B. That's Bishop DK Webb. We are here once again, another Friday. Insight. We got some insightful information. We got some hot topics to discuss today. I want you right now to make sure you share, tell your friends, your families, your foes, your loved ones. Tell them, listen, if you ain't subscribed, go click on subscribe now.
Please subscribe.
Subscribe now. Thank you to all of our YouTube subscribers, to all of you all that have joined us today and that have been supporting us in our new venture, our new endeavor with our podcast. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. So God bless all of you. Welcome to Ensight. Bishop, I'm excited. It's another Friday.
It's another Friday.
God has been good to us. He spared us once again, and He's kept us.
Yes.
And we're thankful.
We're thankful. Can you believe this month is almost over?
I'm telling you, it's going quickly. Yeah, going quickly. We just came through this week celebrating Dr. King and what he meant to us. Not just as a people of color, but to a nation.
To a nation
of people
of all colors,
races, creeds. Came through celebration of Dr. King, and we're thankful. We're thankful for the Lord using him as a tool. God used him mightily as a tool to be effective in delivering people all over the world, really. People have been affected by Dr. King's life and his legacy. But in particular in this country where we live, we've seen and witnessed and experienced significant changes because of the work of Dr. King. So
great impact.
Great impact. So we're excited about that. And I want to segue from that into our hot topic for today because we have an interesting topic today in what we're dealing with. And one of the things about Dr. King that we know for sure, we know Dr. King was he was known for promoting, organizing a nonviolent movement. That even though we were being brutalized in every way possible, bitten by dogs, shot, killed, hung, beaten by sticks and bricks. Dr. King, he was the epitome of turn the other cheek. He did not want us to respond violently.
In a violent way, yes, that's right.
He did not want us to respond violently, although we were being victimized in a very violent way. But he promoted that, he preached that, he taught that, he organized, and he stood by that. He set an example of not using violence. And today we want to talk about in something that's prevalent in this time, in 2023. Unfortunately, we're just dealing with so much violence every single day. You're getting words about people that are being killed violently, whether it's from something domestic, whether it's something from the grocery store, whether it's something from, a bodega, a gas station, anywhere.
A concert, it doesn't matter. On your job, in the lunchroom, it just doesn't matter.
Everywhere. It's just happening everywhere. And the thing is, Bishop, people always have a reason in their own mind. There's always a motive. There's always a reason in their own mind. But something I used to say a long time ago, some things are reasonable. So you have a reason that it's a reasonable thing. And some things are just an excuse. Some things is just something you made up to, just to fill the spot.
True.
And today, the hot topic for the day, you see it there on your screen. We want to talk about are you a victim or a vigilante?
Yeah.
Are you someone that's truly a victim? Have you truly been victimized, by circumstances, by situations, or have you just become a vigilante and decided to take things in your own hands? And unfortunately, we have witnessed it all over the country. Too many vigilantes, too many people just taking the law in their own hands. And Bishop, thinking about, we all were aware of the Trayvon Martin murder.
Yes.
And how that happened. And the gentleman who was responsible for that, he was a vigilante. He decided he wanted to take law in his own hands. Trayvon Martin was a teenager, a young child, lost his life because of it. So look, we're gonna jump into this topic today.
Let's
jump into it. And I'm gonna start right there with that victim or vigilante. And I just want to, before you jump in, Bishop, I want to give the definition of these words. Now, vigilante is defined as a member of a self-appointed group. Self-appointed group of citizens who undertake law enforcement in their own community without legal authority.
Wow.
So that's the key to it all.
Without legal authority. You have no permission. You have no legal permission. No.
Self-appointed without authority.
Wow. Wow.
So, you know what? I mean, this ain't a preaching show, but I should preach that. Self-appointed without authority. I'm telling you, I'm going to preach that.
Go ahead on and preach it.
Self-appointed without authority.
Go ahead.
Ooh, Lord, that's heavy right there. That's heavy. And typically, this is another key to it. Typically, because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate, so people take it law into their own hands because they feel
law enforcement not doing their job.
They feel law enforcement is not doing their part, right? Yeah. So that's a vigilante. I mean, and it's just like, wow. I mean, people. I mean, that's just deep, Bishop.
That's deep. Self-appointed without authority, Pastor. I can't wait to hear that message.
Because I'm telling you, I got to preach that. I got to preach that.
That definition crosses all genres.
I'm telling you.
It's crime, church, it doesn't matter. Community,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Now, let me give you the definition of a victim. A victim is a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, excuse me, or other events or action. So a victim is a person that has suffered something by the means of someone else. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah. Somebody's done some harm to him.
Yes, a victim in no way has done something to someone else, but they've been victimized by another party. And it's by way of a crime or an accident or other event or action. So that's a victim. So are you a victim? Are you a victim? Or are you on the other side of it? Have you taken things into your own hands and become a vigilante? And now you're in the place where you're victimizing others.
Wow.
So Bishop, I want you to jump in here, with this topic, because this is a hot topic.
That is a hot topic, Pastor B. Yeah. I mean, pursuant to the definitions of these two words.
Yeah.
I think the defining factor is have someone done harm to you.
Right.
And it's personal. Have they done personal harm to you?
Yes.
Because pursuant to those definitions, if someone haven't personally harmed you, you're a vigilante.
Yes.
When you're going to try to take matters and a lot of times the Bible tells us, Pastor, as we always say, we're not a Christian show, but we're Christ-centered.
Yes.
Because we always would bring the Bible in. So when you look at it, Pastor B, if you haven't done me personal harm, why can't I do like the word say and stay out of other people's business and stop being busybodies in other men's matters?
Right.
Because a lot of times that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like you say, vigilante, you don't have no authority.
Yeah.
You don't have the authority to do this, but you're taking the matters in your own hand.
Yep.
And a case in particular, Pastor B, want to talk about today is this case that has just raised the bar of emotions and dissent about this young kid. I mean, we got so many kids getting killed in D.C., the DMV, District, Maryland, Virginia, but the district is known for their high crime rate. And we got so many kids out here killing each other. It's just sad. But Pastor B, we had this situation last week where this man shot this kid who was 13 because he said the kid and someone else was breaking in cars. So much so that the mayor of the city, Muriel Bowser, had a press conference last week to talk about this because the community is absolutely outraged.
Yeah.
Because they won't name the person who did the shooting.
Yeah.
They won't name him. They just say he's a DC employee and he African American. So my first inclination was to think, Pastor B, okay, why would you all have to define his ethnicity? Because you're trying to let people know that this is not a white, black, this is not a hate crime. This is not, as we've seen so many times, black men, black kids being killed by police that don't look like them.
Right.
So you're trying to let people know let that ease your nerve. It was somebody that looked like him because this kid was black. He was African American.
Right.
And he's a DC employee. Well, does that shield him? If somebody else shot somebody,
right,
would we tell the name of the people?
Right.
So why are we not revealing the name?
Right.
So in this case, Pastor B, I want to look at this because Pastor B, I looked at one of the news. They had a community meeting, and when they showed it on the news, they had so many people in that room standing on the wall, and them people were angry because they say you're not making someone accountable,
right?
Because apparently they feel like he's a vigilante. So let's first, Pastor B, I always want to give a scripture. Now, Solomon, being one of the wisest that ever lived, and that's why I love the book of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, because Solomon had great wisdom. But Solomon said, first he said, train up a child in the way he should go. Proverbs 22:6. Train up the child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The sad part, a lot of them not even living to get old. But if we train them up and they get older, they may stray, but they won't depart because they won't depart, Pastor B, because guess what? It's going to be in them. It's in their heart. I don't care. They can be in some of the deepest, darkest places. But when you train them up like that, it's in their heart. It won't depart from them. Don't say they're going to live perfect. Don't say, they're going to do everything right. But they're going to have that word in their heart. They're going to have that training in their heart.
Right.
And sometimes they may do something wrong. You find some of the worst criminals know the word, Pastor B. They know it well. Raised in church. It doesn't mean their parents didn't raise them properly. That's not what that means. Because a lot of times when your children get grown or even start getting older, they succumb to peer pressure. So they'll do things that they know they were trained not to do because they're under this pressure to be accepted by their peers.
Yep.
And so they do things that they know they're not been taught. They've not been taught to do. Now, I want to read in the original context of that word depart, Pastor B, it means to turn off. It means to lay away, to leave undone, to pluck away. So when you train them up, they can never let that leave from them. It's always going to be a part of them. Yeah. But the unfortunate part, Pastor B, a lot of people aren't living to be old or older. Yeah. Because this kid, and it's all over the news, And so, it's public information. So as I said last week, when you put stuff out in the public, then me being a public citizen, I have the right to examine what you have put out publicly and formulate my own opinions, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, but we're entitled to that. So it's public information that this kid, 13-year-old Karan Blake, because the mother has even started a GoFundMe, but the mayor gives a press conference. So my thing is, it must be important enough because all these kids getting killed in D.C., all these kids dying. I don't think the mayor do a press conference on every death and every shooting. So, okay, this employee, whoever this employee is, must be important enough that you all don't want to name them.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Pastor B, let's first deal with the part about this being a child. This kid is 13. The allegation is this man, that's what the news says. This man comes out, he sees kids breaking into cars. Okay, that means if you break in my car, in full disclosure, Pastor B, I have been victimized by car break-ins.
Me too.
I have been victimized. You come out, your window's broken, somebody has broken in your car. Yeah. But okay, guess what? The first thing I did when I was a victim, I looked at what they tried to take.
Yeah.
And they tried to take a briefcase that I inadvertently left in my car, which I shouldn't have done. So what is that? That is enticement for someone that's trying to look for something to steal.
Right.
So I had to take responsibility for that. That, first of all, was my fault because I should have never left my briefcase in there. Now, of course, Pastor, the only thing I had in the briefcase was papers that I had graded of my students that I was going to take back the next day. Because back in the day, everything wasn't computerized. Sometimes we had to hand grade stuff.
Right.
So now I said to myself, okay, I can't be mad with them. I got to use this as a teachable moment for me. And I was good and grown when it happened to me. I think I was in my 50s when it happened to me. I was good and grown. But I had to use that as a teachable moment, Pastor B, for me. Because what did that teach me? You shouldn't leave nothing in your car that's visible for somebody to steal that they feel might be worth something.
Right.
And Pastor B, when they looked in the briefcase, they found out nothing is there. So they threw all the papers on the ground and left the briefcase and kept going. See, because they're doing it quickly. But I had to say, you have to accept some responsibility. And that's the problem with a lot of times, Pastor B. We don't want to accept responsibility for a lot of things we help to incite. Because if you know that in your neighborhood and things like this is going on, because once that happened to me in that neighborhood I lived in, I never left anything in my car. I didn't even leave a napkin in there that they could see. My car was completely clean. So you look in my window, there is nothing here.
Right.
Now, when they want to steal a vehicle, that's another story.
Right.
But Pastor B, the word tells us, when you look at Proverbs 22, same chapter, but when you look at Pastor B, Proverbs 22:15, King Solomon says to us, foolishness is bound, it's connected. In the heart of a child. It's there. You ain't, all you gotta do is be born.
Yep. And it's in you.
It's in you.
Yeah. Born in sin, shaped in iniquity.
Born in sin, shaped in it. And Solomon says that it's in the heart of a child. So, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Yeah. So Solomon is saying you need to correct them. You need to rebuke it. You need to get them back in order.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to say, Pastor B, when we have things that happen like this and the community get outraged and all that, the community should get outraged when they never went, when they saw that this was way back in the 60s, I believe, because of course when I came up, we did have prayer in school. Right. But when y'all took prayer out to school, you all weren't outraged. You didn't come to the school board and say, no, we want prayer. You didn't want it. Okay, you should be outraged when they start making laws that we couldn't correct our own children. That if we correct our children, then you are in danger of your children going into the system, CPS, Child Protective Services, to protect them from abuse. And sometimes, Pastor B, that abuse was just beating the child with a belt.
Right.
Solomon said, you need to drive the correction out. You need to drive it out of them with the rod of correction. So now, if we don't allow legally, Pastor B, because I noticed what the definition you gave, even a victim versus vigilante. If we don't be outraged with a lot of the laws that are made, and we won't go to those meetings, and we won't contact our councilmen, and we won't contact those, even in different cities, your senators or whoever, because of course we know in Washington, D.C., you still don't have representation in the Senate. Because DC still is not looked at as a state. I don't know why they still doing that. But anyway.
Right.
We as parents should get outraged, Pastor B, because you shouldn't tell us how we're going to raise our children.
Right.
Now, nobody is going to go along with you in there, you burning your children and putting matches on your children. That is physical abuse.
Yeah. Yeah. That's out of bounds right there.
That's out of bounds, Pastor B.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't even want me to hit them.
Right.
Because if I hit them and they come to school and say, my mama hit me, you'll take them out the house. So Solomon said, so Pastor B, my question is, if foolishness is bound and the rod of correction is needed to drive it out, what are we supposed to do to discipline these children?
Right.
Because we sat back and let them make the laws. Don't whoop them, don't touch them, don't spank them, don't nothing. Discipline is, okay, you can't watch TV. Discipline is, I'm going to take your phone. Sometimes, Pastor B, and I'm sorry to say, we not a Christian show, but we're Christ-centered. I believe the word. It's going to take the rod. It's going to take more than me taking your phone, because after a while, your children become accustomed to that, and they get acclimated to that. And what they do, they find other ways to talk to their friends.
Yep.
They can do it,
especially 2023. I mean, there's so many different ways.
This modern technology is so many different ways. Your children doing stuff right under your nose. So we have allowed this. So what are parents supposed to do? So now, look at this situation, Pastor B. This kid is 13. All right. So he is just coming into teenhood.
Right.
He's dealing with masculinity. He's dealing with testosterone. He's dealing with all of this.
Right.
He's living in a community where a lot of his friends obviously is doing a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing. Right. He wants to be accepted. Right. And then King Solomon says foolishness is bound in his heart. Does that make this kid bad, Pastor B, because he makes an unwise decision? Because last I checked, it's a lot of adults that's 30 years older than him, 40 years older than him, Pastor B, and they making bad choices.
Absolutely. And
bad decisions.
Indeed.
So what?
And repeatedly at that.
Repeatedly.
Yeah. It ain't like they just doing it one time.
That's it. Because Pastor B, this kid is not even fully developed. Medicine, history says that their brain is not even fully developed until 25.
Yeah.
And I know men, just like and you, for those who's watching our podcast and may not know that Pastor B is also my biological son, but he's just my partner here. You know, he's my buddy with Ensight. But Pastor B, as I sat down and talked to you all when you first became teenagers, and talked to you about what happened in your body, what's going to go on, how, and I told y'all, when they started that law about your parents touch you, we're going to take you out. I told y'all, if you go tell somebody I whoop you, guess what? You can go ahead to the stranger's house, but guess what? What was that thing, Pastor B? The first stuff that came out, the Atari, whatever, you had them all, whatever I bought you.
Right.
I said, when you go, all my stuff stay in my house.
Yeah.
The Atari, the Nintendo, everything that I had to work hard for and pay for to get you.
Right.
Put on a layaway plan.
Right. Struggle to get it. Yep.
It's going to stay with me because guess what? Ain't nobody going to tell me in my house how to raise you, because I'm going to correct you when you're wrong so I can help save you.
Yeah.
So these parents even have a hard job, because it doesn't mean because your child go out there and do something foolish that they aren't being trained in the way they should go.
Yep.
And that's the first thing people want to do. They want to blame the parent.
Yeah.
So now let's get to our hot topic, Pastor B. That was the appetizer we gave.
Oh, that was the appetizer.
That was the appetizer.
Okay. All right.
Because Pastor B, we're saying you're a victim of vigilante.
Yeah. I mean, because most of the time, you know what? I mean, what it takes to remain a victim is, I mean, it certainly takes Jesus. But it takes patience, it takes courage. And I think above all, it takes love, because the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sin.
Yes.
So ultimately, when you're victimized, and the Bible says vengeance is the Lord's, he will repay it.
Yes.
Then, or if you feel as though you've been being victimized, right. Do you become a vigilante, or do you cover them in love? And I think that's where that fine line comes in, and a lot of people just struggle with that.
Well, but you know what, Pastor B, you know what, and for those, and we want y'all to chime in. Pastor B, this is my thing, and you know I'm definitely not one that judge people. I look at facts, right. and I'm gonna look at facts. I right. can't be driven by emotion. I want to first see the facts. Now, because you and I have been victimized, people breaking our car, and when my car got broken into, it was in my neighborhood where I lived. Okay. Right. So now right. I immediately start praying for these kids that's out in the middle of the night. And a lot of times these kids are snuck out the window. They done snuck out the house. The parents think they're in the room sleep. The parents done fallen asleep. They don't even know the kids done got up and went out the window. True. And doing whatever they do, because yep. these kids are innovative. They come up with all kind of new stuff to do. Yep. So if this kid, Pastor B, the news said that a grand jury was convened because they're going to decide they're going to charge this individual, because they still won't get no details about the shooter. They just right. said that he had a legal gun, so he was right. legally registered. So my next question is, Pastor B, why shouldn't the community be outraged when someone can come? Because my answer to that question is in this particular place, this man's a vigilante.
Yeah.
Because the news said, Pastor B, watch this now, his car wasn't broken into, and he didn't lose anything. So
he didn't get broken into?
That's what they say. That's what the news. That's what the news says.
Well, he definitely fits he fits the definition for sure.
He fits the definition.
Yeah. He took the law into his own hands.
He took the law into his own hand. The news report says that this man, of course, the mayor says being investigated. Okay, but if y'all investigating, why y'all get a grand jury? Because somebody need to hear the story and decide for themselves. Now, if they indict him, then the grand jury must have seen something that you know you were a vigilante. Because now, if they didn't break in your car, your window not broken. My first question to you, sir, why you even go out the door? Dial 911.
Why is he involved?
Dial 911.
Exactly.
You live in the city. Exactly. You know what's going on with these kids. You know these kids be out in the middle of the night. Sir, you even work for DC government. Dial 911.
Yeah. That's taking the law into your own hands.
It's taken into your own hands, Pastor B.
Yeah, it's taken to your own. And see,
I don't care you white, brown, blue, or purple.
See, that's a whole nother issue, because even with people that fall into that category of becoming vigilantes, you know, it's in my mind, it's a different thing. I'm not excusing it, right? But it's even a different thing when you feel that personally something's being done to you.
It's different.
But when you see someone being victimized, and instead of you trying to, they say make a citizen's arrest, right. Instead of you trying to call, like you said, call 911, get the authorities involved, you decide you want to be judge, jury, and executioner all at once.
That's a vigilante.
That's a vigilante.
Because they report it's Pastor B. How can he be a victim? And they say it never even broke in his car.
That's crazy.
Now NBC News reported, and NBC News said that the police said that the man shot and killed this boy on Quincy Street Northeast. And for those that's from the city, you know what that is. In the Brooklyn neighborhood, well, right down the street from the homes and stuff, you got a major Montana and all down there. Okay. Right. But 4 a.m. Saturday, okay, the kid out at 4 o'clock in the morning, he's 13 years old, okay? 4 o'clock on a Saturday, the police say the man stepped outside armed with a legally registered gun when he heard noises. This is what the police said. This is what the news reported. And saw someone who appeared to be, in the news said, quote unquote, tampering with the vehicle. So he stepped outside, and this is from, I'm going to read it straight from NBC News. NBC says, Pastor B, and I quote, this is what they said: the resident stepped outside armed with a legally registered gun, and after an interaction with the teen, opened fire. Neighbors said they heard 4 to 5 gunshots during the incident. Why your neighbors up and can hear gunshots, but they not outside with a gun?
Right.
And you outside with a gun.
Yeah, you took long time. Listen, we got to take a break. We coming right back with this hot topic, victim or vigilante. Don't y'all go nowhere. Don't touch the dial. Don't move out. Don't go nowhere. Bishop will be right back. I will be right back with Ensight Podcast with this hot topic, victim or vigilante. Listen, welcome back. Listen, I'm telling you, this is a hot topic. It's a hot topic, victim or vigilante. Y'all see it up there. I'm telling you, are you one or the other? Have you remained a victim, or have you decided to take the law into your own hands? All right, we coming back. Here she is, Bishop DK Webb. She's back. Bishop, I mean, this is a hot topic. This is a hot topic. And please continue on with this story about this young man that was murdered by this vigilante.
Pastor B, I was sharing with our listeners and our audience of what the NBC News reported, and this man stepped outside, and then they said after he shot this kid multiple times, he started CPR on him. I mean, like, really? You shot him multiple times and didn't do CPR? That kid probably was dead once you shot him multiple times. You did CPR so you can say you tried to save him when you know you wanted to kill him. And they say the kid died a short time later at the hospital. So he must have had a faint pulse. And so you did CPR. But if you shot him multiple times, what was the chance of this kid living? Exactly. So this kid dying on the street at 4:00 in the morning, God help his mama. While his mama probably don't even know where the boy at. It don't mean that his mama ain't trying to raise him up in the right way, Pastor B. It doesn't mean that his mother is not praying for her child. It doesn't mean. Sometimes we are victims of our environment.
It's true. Yep.
And so this child laying on the street dying by himself. And so they say they report he hadn't been arrested or charged. And of course, the latest news I heard, he has acquired a lawyer. So they said from the U.S. Attorney's Office that they're investigating the case, and all facts they're going to take before the grand jury. And they said that the D.C. police chief, he mad because he was fired up when he did he held a public news conference. And he said he told the news conference to correct the misinformation that's swirling throughout the community because too many people have made assumptions about this case, and it's dangerous. He said people are making allegations centered around race. Photos are circulating on social media of innocent people who have been accused in the killing. And he says all false, and that the man involved is African American. This is my point, Pastor B. And Chief Conti, bless your heart.
What difference does it make about the race anyway?
What difference does it make? Because he said, I think it's getting reckless and dangerous. Well, Chief Conti, if y'all identified the shooter, then you wouldn't have to have all this speculation.
Exactly. Stop keeping it a secret.
And look, people know people. Now, if this boy 13 and he's gotten killed, you got to go tell his mama who shot him. You think his mama ain't talking?
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, I mean, normally they release the names of suspects or persons involved.
In his press conference, he said we normally do press conferences and we identify a person. We looking for somebody who we specifically know has done people harm and they're on the run and we identify them. He said this is the way we normally handle cases. I saw the press conference, just a piece of it. And I said, you know what? This man has gone and gotten a lawyer. But if this man fatally shoots, you mad about all the speculation. The speculation would end if you all identify who the shooter was. Mm-hmm. And in the press conference, even with the mayor, a gentleman got to the mic and he said, y'all dead wrong. He said, everything that's happening in this city, y'all named the shooters, y'all named people y'all looking for. Y'all ain't got, they can even be allegedly the shooter. Y'all put their name out there. And this man that killed 13-year-old, he was outraged. He said, y'all dead wrong. That's what he said. So my thing is, Pastor B, they say they found a stolen car near the scene.
So okay. They protecting somebody, though.
So they protecting somebody. I don't know who he is, but he is being protected. Mm-hmm. And they said they believe that this kid used the car. How you know then? How y'all, this is my thing, Pastor B. How y'all gonna put out here that this kid was driving the car when you say two sources familiar with the investigation told News 4 that the car was a stolen Kia and its engine was running? Okay. So if you got two kids that ran away from the scene, how y'all know this dead kid is the one who was driving the car?
Oh, wow. Right.
Because that's what y'all trying to intimate. That to me is suggestive. If you're saying that a stolen car was found nearby and the engine was running, two kids ran away, but they said that they believe this is the car Blake used. How you know that this kid was the driver? Exactly. Oftentimes, you know, Pastor B, we know many stories, even from the 80s. A lot of my babies that got killed, they were victimized because they were with the wrong people. Mm-hmm. How y'all know this kid was driving the car? The two kids that ran and got away, one of them could have been the driver. This kid just so happened to be the one that the man came out and grabbed. Yeah. So my thing is, Pastor B, does he fit the definition of vigilante? My answer is yes.
I think so. I think hands down he fits that definition, you know, and I think most importantly with the vigilante definition, you know, and there it is again across the screen, member of a self-appointed group of citizens who do what? They undertake law enforcement without legal authority.
Yes.
You know, and the B clause of that definition talks about in particular at times when they feel like law enforcement is inadequate. So
inadequate, exactly.
And that's a matter, inadequacy is a matter of opinion.
It's a matter of opinion. But you know, Pastor B, let's be honest now. Let's be honest. It's a matter of opinion. And people are scared in DC, these kids killing each other and everything. So they tell you, stay in the house. Stay in the house and call the police.
Yep.
So why you step out the house, sir? Why? And all these people, you know, they say the principal, because he went there to Brooklyn Middle School, and the principal, because they say this kid was nice and a quiet kid. So that tell me something, Pastor B, that the mother was trying to raise this kid some kind of way. And, you know, because he know to respect his elders. And, you know, if your principal and teachers are speaking well of you, that means you're not going to school and cutting up and doing stuff that a lot of these kids do, that you are truly a delinquent, you know. But you are one that you get caught up trying to be with your friends. Your mama probably didn't know you was outside at 4:00 in the morning on Saturday. But the question is, Pastor B, who really is the victim here? To me, Karan Blake is the victim.
Absolutely.
Because now he done lost his life, Pastor B, over property that the insurance pays for. You and I know, of course, we
Bishop, can you speak to the fact that in this case in particular, you know, I want you to dive a little deeper into the part what you're saying now about him being a victim, but even in terms of what you were saying with his background, with his upbringing, with his environment, because a lot of people that commit crimes and things of that sort, they have actually they've been a victim for years.
But see, Pastor B, that's part of trauma-informed care. You know me being a mental health professional. That's part of trauma-informed care. It's not why you do it. It's like what made you do it? What happened?
Hold on. This moment of insight. Say it again, Bishop. It's a moment of insight.
That's part of trauma-informed care.
Trauma-informed care.
Yes. So I'm not going to just talk about what you did. I'm going to try to get to what made you do this. Why did you do this? Because most of the time you will help to uncover some traumatic events they've gone through.
Yeah.
That led to that. So we're not just going to start out with trying to punish you.
Right.
We got to be informed about the trauma you have sustained in your life. Now, in that area where he lived is considered the hood.
Right.
In that area where he lived, Pastor B, we know in the late 80s, early 90s, so many people was getting killed over there in Montana. It was crazy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The area is still impoverished in some areas over there. And then, you go across the street and you got homes, people that are homeowners. Okay. Yeah. So when you look at that, they reported that he leaves his mom and 3 younger siblings. So he's the oldest one. So you figure this kid is 13. He's the oldest. He got 3 younger siblings. So that means his mama got 4 children. She's trying to raise by herself. And he's the oldest one. So if he got 3 younger siblings, she might be tired. She might be asleep. She got to deal with the younger kids. He's a teenager now. She counts on him to help her with stuff. Yep. She don't know he out there. So he's a victim. He's a victim, not just because now he's gotten killed, but he's victimized by all the trauma. Not to mention that, Pastor B, the trauma of losing his friends. The trauma of knowing a lot of his friends that got killed. The trauma sometimes of being around Pastor B and you see your friends on the ground dead. Yeah. It's a lot of trauma going on. Yeah. It's a lot of trauma going on. So we are so quick when we dealing with these kids. We are so quick to say the parents didn't do something right. Ain't no father in the house. It's some kids that go away with them both parents in the house. Yep. So we have to look at, we got to have a greater understanding, Pastor B, when we talk about trauma-informed care. Why did you do it? That's what that should say there. Why did you do it? Right. And that is because we're going to delve deeper. We're going to try to get a greater understanding of the traumatic effects of your behavior. You're doing this. And then what we're going to do, we're going to try to prevent re-traumatizing you. Right. Because even with Karan's death, this is a re-traumatization in the community. Ensight moment. When they constantly keep hearing it and keep saying it, they're being re-traumatized. Yeah. And we're supposed to be trying to prevent re-traumatization. Wow. So you got to be informed. You got to be informed. Ensight moment. Wow. Because they're being constantly, Pastor B, re-traumatized. So how are we supposed to handle that? Do we think they're not a victim? Yeah. When they're constantly being re-traumatized, so every day they look on the news, if their friend haven't shot their own friend, if they haven't gotten killed, then it's adults killing them, or they got killed in the car they was trying to steal and got in an accident. They're being re-traumatized. Yeah. So we need a trauma-informed approach, and we don't always do that, Pastor B. We don't always, we start pointing the finger. We start pointing the finger. So we got to get everybody involved because these kids, Pastor B, they really are victims. When they're constantly suffering re-traumatization. Yeah. And so we have to deal with the anger part, behavioral health issue. Yeah. I mean, and it's an old saying, hurt people hurt people. Yeah. So I'm mad because down the street, I'm over here and my mother can't afford, because at 13, I'm not mature enough to understand that. My mother can't afford to buy us food, or we live in this community. Then we go across the street, we cross the light, and you got all these nice houses over here. Yeah. And people driving their nice cars. Yep. And that's what they see. That's what they see. Yeah. And like you said, they don't have that understanding. They don't have that level of maturity. That's right. They have no idea. Yes. Of what's behind all that. Yes. And the work that someone has put in to even be where they are, or the trauma that people went through and overcame. Yes. To get to the point, to get to the point where they could buy something nice and so on and so forth. Exactly. They have no idea. They have no idea. They only know what they see on the surface. And exactly. And when you see your friends, like I said, Patrick B, you're seeing your friends constantly killed. Every time you turn around, kids 13, 14, they thinking they ain't gonna even live to be 20 because they're constantly being re-traumatized. Yep. Well, we're gonna de-escalate some stuff and we're gonna get them some therapy and we're gonna help them. Then we have to provide trauma-informed care. Yeah. And not trying to point fingers. Yeah. Because these kids are victims. Yeah. They're victims. You walk across the street, you're scared of them, you don't want to speak to them. I'm not going to confront you, but I'm going to speak to the babies. Yeah. I'm going to speak to the babies. I'm not going to be afraid to walk down the street and speak to the babies because I'm not going to make the assumption,
right,
that you bad.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened to you.
Yeah.
Why you do this? What happened to you? That's trauma-informed care. I ain't going to sit there and badge you. What's wrong with you? You bad. You this, that. Trauma-informed care says, what happened to you?
Right.
Why? Tell me why you did it. What happened to you?
Right.
And then some of them will start opening up and talk about what happened to them. So I felt like I needed to do it. Some of them, my little sister ain't have no milk. Some of them, my mother can't afford to even buy shoes. So I need to go out here and get something so we can eat. You got to look at what happened to you. Why did you do it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so in this particular case, Pastor B, if it's a public safety issue, since when we can take it into our own hands and go outside with a loaded gun? Because as they always say, don't take a gun with you if you don't intend to use it.
Right.
If you hear noise out there and somebody breaking windows, Pastor B, I need some help. Come on, listeners. Come on, viewers.
Yeah.
Why you couldn't dial 911?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's what it's there for.
That's
what it's there for.
We even got people take pictures and everything. That George Floyd, that's how it happened. People stand on the side, take pictures. You could even took your phone, took a picture in your house, record a little video, call the police, tell them, and I'm videoing them, and they can catch them. But to go outside with a gun?
Yeah. Listen, hold that thought, Bishop. Hold that thought. That's the question we want to ask when Bishop comes back. Why didn't he call 911? We're going to ask that question when we come back. We'll be right back. Ensight Podcast. We'll be right back. All right, y'all, we back. Listen. Y'all heard it, right? The question is, why didn't he call 911? Right? And I want to put it like this, Bishop. I want to put it like this. Why is it when you need help, you don't call for it?
Right. And the thing is, Pastor B,
instead of taking it into your own hands.
But Pastor B, you take somebody's life, you can't bring it back.
No, it's over.
So this kid's life is only worth a broken window.
Right.
That cost me, mine got broken to maybe 10 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. But Pastor B, it was 10 years or so ago. Pastor B, all I had to do was pay my $150 deductible and my window got replaced.
Right.
We gonna take this kid's life.
Right.
Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. You've been a child. You ain't never done nothing foolish.
Exactly.
You ain't never been with some friends who did something. Pastor B, I grew up with friends and we be walking home from the Safeway and they be doing foolish stuff.
Right.
They would do foolish stuff. And one of my friends, and we told her, don't do it, because the community I grew up in, there was a great racial divide. Mm-hmm. We hadn't been delivered yet, Pastor B. Mm-hmm. And when my parents moved from the South, we already had it. My parents, because of course in my family, the land is down there, in the field. So my parents shielded us. So we didn't have to deal with a lot of that. But when we moved to the city, then we got to interact with people. Then you start seeing this racial divide.
Right.
And where I grew up with, one area across the street is rich. Right. I mean, when you think about Southwest Washington, Pastor B, you had the Rockefellers, you had different people that had condos down there. These are rich people. People got money.
Right.
And we didn't really know we were poor because we ate every day. Our parents took care of us.
Right.
But sometimes, Pastor B, we walk down the street and we walk up the street to Waterside Mall up there by the wharf, which is now the wharf. We walk up there. A lot of the people that didn't look like us would cross the street and roll their eyes at us. I mean, we live with that. They did it all the time.
Right.
And one of my friends, she didn't like it.
Right.
And one day she said, we were young teenagers. This kid's age 13, 14. One day she said, you know what? I ain't coming outside no more. And they keep walking on the other side of the street and rolling their eyes at us like we doing something to them. They think we're going to do something. The next time somebody do it, I'm going to slap her face and I'm going to take her purse.
Since you're scared.
Since
you something to be scared for.
I would give you a reason to be scared.
Right.
And Pastor B, I kid you not, she did it one day when we was walking. All of us ran. We was like, girl, you should have did that. The police gonna get you. And somehow never, they found out all of us that was her friends.
Wow.
And they came to ask us a question. And I told the truth. I said, well, you know, these people always rolling their eyes at us, crossing on the other side of the street. And she didn't like it. And she said she gonna get them.
Right, right.
So, you know, you do foolish stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, she went on to become a successful government employee and retired. But you do foolish stuff when you're 12 and 13 years old. Mm-hmm. You react to things. But trauma-informed care says, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Why did you do it?
Yeah.
What happened to you? So we can make sure we don't re-traumatize you. Tell us what happened to you.
Yeah.
Tell us why we did it, why you do it. I want to know what happened to you.
Yeah.
You know, and so when they start sharing, like I said, many of these kids' story, we don't have food to eat. So I went out there, I figured if I steal something and sell it, you know, because my mother trying to do her best, because boys going to try to look out for their mama.
Right.
My mother trying to do her best. Trauma-informed care. But this man, Pastor B, come on, listeners, come on, viewers.
Yeah.
We want y'all to type in the comments what you feel.
Right.
Exactly. Why did you do it? What happened to you?
Right. Right.
What happened to you? Put that there for me, producer. What happened to you? Why did you do it? What happened to you?
Exactly.
Because we're not going to badger you. What's wrong with you? You just bad. You need to go to jail. No, we're not going to do that. We want to know. Tell us what happened to you, why you do it, why you feel like this. What? Come on, talk to me. Open up.
Yeah.
What happened to you? You'll find out a lot of times, Pastor B, these kids have been through so many traumatic situations in their little 12, 13-year-old life. It's unbelievable that even an adult couldn't stand up to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we tried.
That's true.
We trying, Pastor B, to prevent re-traumatization. That's why I want to know why you do it, what happened to you. Yeah. So we can help you get on a trajectory to change your life because you still got value. Do we throw your life away because you're 13? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you made a foolish choice? Mm-hmm. Now, Pastor B, this is the thing before we close today. These kids they were in a stolen Kia. So obviously, whoever stole the car and he with people that stole the car, I don't know if it was Corona who stole the car. Okay. And that's people's property. And you should not be taking other people's property.
Right.
Okay. But now I need to talk to you and I need to call 911 or I need to videotape you. Pastor B, this man should have stayed in the house like his neighbors stayed in the house.
Yeah, should have minded his
and
business.
Call 911. Because my thing is, Pastor B, watch this now. Why did he come out and put hands on the boy?
Exactly. How
y'all get into an altercation?
Exactly.
We're sorry for the background noise.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Pastor B, why did they get in an altercation?
Yeah.
So that tell me you went out there, you done touched this boy and tried to make this boy stop. And what's his first instinct? He's going to try to run.
Yes.
He's not going to just stand up and throw up his hand. Oh, well, me and my friends, we out here stealing cars and breaking in the cars. What you expect his response to be when he been caught?
Yes.
When he been caught, what you expect his response to be?
Exactly. He afraid.
He's afraid.
He afraid. He's immature.
He's immature.
He knows he's wrong.
He knows he's wrong.
But he's afraid.
But he's afraid. So you a grown man. He 13, and they said, Pastor B, I'm just going according to what the news said. They said they found no weapons. The child ain't have no weapons or nothing. So what prompted you to shoot him?
Yeah. And you said multiple times, right? Didn't you say multiple times too, Bishop? Multiple
times. That's what the news reported. Multiple times. And they say parents and everybody have spoken with the news. They say that's what News 4 reported that they struggling to even comprehend it. I mean, one person said, and I quote, this is DC Councilmember Christina Henderson, said she's going to be checking in with DC Public Schools and DBH, Department of Behavioral Health, to ensure that middle school got proper support. And she said property is not greater than life. Quran should be alive today. That's a DC council member.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So this man, you a vigilante. You wasn't a victim. You didn't lose anything. They didn't break in your car. They didn't steal your car. This kid could have been a victim, victimized by poverty, victimized by dehumanization, victimized by marginalization.
Wow, that's powerful. Bishop, say that again.
Victimized by dehumanization.
Yes.
Victimized by marginalization.
Yes.
He's victimized.
Yes. He's been dehumanized. He's been marginalized.
Absolutely.
His family suffers from poverty.
Exactly.
And I mean, we know, we certainly know, especially even us of African American descent, we certainly know, what that feels like, and how that affects your mental health.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So your mental compass is not the same. You know, when you've been dehumanized and marginalized.
Exactly. And that's part of Pastor B, not to cut you off, but that's part of trauma-informed care. I need to see your whole life situation.
What's wrong? Exactly.
What happened? I need to see the whole picture. I'm not going to judge you because first of all, I know you're a young black male. Yes.
Listen,
so I'm not going to judge you.
Listen, this is such a powerful, hot topic. I'm telling you, it's such a powerful, hot topic. Are you a victim? Or are you a vigilante? And we got to close for this week. We got to close this podcast. But I'm telling you, this has been an extremely hot topic. But I want to say this, and I'm going to give Bishop the final words. Don't take it into your own hands.
Don't take it.
No. Call 911. Or if it's a situation where it's somebody call their parent. Or reach out to someone mutually that to try to resolve things. Yes. Don't take things into your own hands when you already know you have bad intentions.
Exactly. Because you went out there with a gun, you must intended to use it.
You had bad intentions. Go ahead, Bishop. You got the final word. We got about 90 seconds, and you got the final word, Bishop.
Well, Pastor B, you got to tell yourself, don't take matters in your own hand. We might have to do a part 2 because we see this a lot in the church. You take matters in your own hands, and then Pastor B, it creates a lot of problems for you. Because now look at this gentleman. You was in the house minding your business. Now you got to come up with money that you hadn't anticipated spending because you got to hire a lawyer.
Yep.
You praying now you don't go to jail. Yep. You praying now you don't get a murder charge because you wanted to take things in your own hands. So we may have to do part 2, Pastor B, with the church.
Yeah.
Because we need to do what the Bible said do. Stop being busybodies in other men's matters. Yeah. That was a police matter, Pastor B.
Yes. It ain't had nothing to do with you.
That was a police matter.
Nothing to do with you.
It had nothing to do with you.
That's it.
So what are you doing? You're re-traumatizing that neighborhood.
Yes.
You re-traumatize his friend because they think they out there just doing little fun stuff. Don't know, you ain't got no business trying to take people property. You don't have no business doing this kind of stuff. Okay, but let's give you a second chance because I want to end with this, Pastor B. I looked the other day and I haven't looked at much about him, our new governor, Westmore, and I'm going to look at it more. But I saw something Westmore said the other day. I never knew his background, trauma-informed care. Of course, he just ended up good. But, he says that when he was young, I think was 11, he was in fisticuffs. Wow. They put him in cuffs. For something like being on a bicycle stolen or something like that. You make unwise choices. But I want to say to you today, beloved, don't be a vigilante, even when you've been victimized. Because a lot of times those that are victimizing people, they're victims themselves.
Yep.
That's one thing. If your life is in danger, they pointing a gun, but you in your house, minding your business, call 911.
Yeah.
Don't take
call 911. Call the authorities. Listen, we listen. Bishop has already said it. There's so much more to unpack. We're probably gonna do a part 2 for this. But listen, I want to thank all of you again, all of you subscribers, all of you listeners. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate y'all. I want y'all to join us next week. Tune in next week at 12:30. Make sure you spread the word. Tell your friends, your family, your foes. Come to subscribe. Hot topic. You see it right there. Victim or vigilante. It's Pastor Bishop DK Ware, rather. And it's me, Pastor B. We'll see you next Friday. God bless you.